going to do a trade recap today on a trade I had on ES. Sorry I'm making this so late. This should have been made earlier, but anyways, we're still going to do it. So today, news-wise, we'll run over to Forex Factory real quick. Didn't have too much today. We had PMI at 10 a.m., which was some high-impact news, pretty volatile. Did move the market a little bit, but we're going to go over everything that happened today. So starting in the hourly time frame, draws of liquidity. We had, today at least, we had London session highs and then New York session highs as well, previous day from Friday. But my main target definitely today was short. We had a lot of targets to the downside that I wanted to see get taken out. And as I'm saying this, I realized I was on the wrong side. So I already have all this marked out. So we see London session lows, Asia session lows, and we were hovering kind of around up here-ish, right around market open. So I'll get rid of all these because that's just marking out the macro and whatnot. So obviously we're hovering right around these once New York session opens up, and we had this high time frame bearish order block right here that I liked. We had these two draws of liquidity as well, but I obviously wasn't expecting like us to reach all the way up here and then sell off. I figured this was going to be our main draw of liquidity for the day, and that ended up being correct. So we did not take this out on ES. However, on NASDAQ we did. Obviously NASDAQ, this looks like a super easy trade. So ES did the same thing, and then we ended up seeing that bearish movement. So moving into the macro, obviously you see the macro didn't really give us too much. We did have this nice, we had this breaker block form. So we had this move down before the move up, which generated this breaker block right here, right around market open. We generated this breaker block. We get a complete closure below it. Ended up, obviously, like I said, forming that breaker block. So obviously we are ripping to the downside. I'm thinking, okay, we are 100% going to be taking out these lows and possibly going even lower. Obviously there's no extendo clip take profits down here. There's nothing really to go off of on the hourly. These were the two that I was 100% certain on these taking. So moving down to the 1 minute, we also get a order block right here. We get a 1 minute order block right here. So we get this final move up before the move down. We retest back into it and move down. So this was actually the area. Obviously this looks a lot better than it actually was. I ended up getting stopped out and losing $250 on this because this was not where the entry was. The entry was later than I wanted to. And then also I quite literally got top wicked out of this. So yep, this was right on the entry. So bottom of this candle, I entered late, got top wicked out, and then obviously we see price completely ripping down to my take profit. So this is what ended up happening. If I log in on TradeAvate, it would have shown it, but I'm not logged in on it right now. But this is what the trade ended up looking like. So this is more of, yes, it was kind of like my other strategy, which is the liquidity sweep, high time frame order block, market structure shift, all that stuff. This kind of also followed the order flow, which is what TGR has been stressing. I actually really like that strategy, not waiting. Like, if I was strictly on my other strategy here, I wouldn't have been looking for a short position necessarily because we didn't take these highs out. But NASDAQ, obviously, like we see on NASDAQ, took those highs out really nice and then ended up getting a very strong move to the downside, obviously, like we see here. I mean, it was literally that perfect 930 wick taking it out and then ripping to the downside. So that was enough confidence for me to go short. I mean, these were two just dead obvious draws of liquidity that we were going to take out. Basically relative equal lows, a little bit closer lows on ES, definitely NASDAQ. These were a little farther away, but ES, I mean, if you don't think these are relative equal lows, then I don't know what you think are. There's no way that we're going to get there's no way that we sweep this low out and then move up, right? Like that's just never going to happen. We're never going to sweep this low out here and then rally up, right? So these were two obvious draws of liquidity. You might as well target this bottom one because it's going to get hit. There's no way these aren't far enough apart. I would say on NASDAQ, I could argue that they were, but NASDAQ obviously moves a lot more severe. So these were obviously going to get, obviously we see they just get absolutely ripped through like fairly quickly in this candle, even extending all the way down here. So not a dumb loss, I'd have to say. Obviously, it was still a very good trade. Obviously, like I said, I got top wicked out. I might have been the only person on the planet getting stopped out on this trade. But, the order flow is working. I like this order flow. Obviously, trading to these lows, I mean, it's just so obvious that those lows are going to be taking out. I love watching TGR stream and him going over these confluences. Obviously, I'm not sitting there itching for him to tell me what trade to take. I already know what trade to take. So yeah, tough stop out. I mean, if you look at this from over here, you're like, damn, great trade. But then you zoom in and realize I literally got top wick. So it is what it is. That's a trade for the day. I lost 200. It was 243, really, basically. So less than 0.25% of the account. So it is what it is. I'm going to be ready for tomorrow to trade. And that's pretty much it.